we got to talk about these goals a little bit, right? I think we could sort of close out recapping the game in terms of how these goals were conceded and how the one goal was scored. So, I mean, at least I'll go with you, to you first on this one. So we see Germany have the early substitution coming into the second half, right? And then I'm with you both in that no, it's not too surprising to see the same 11, roll out for the United States and get in, continue to build off of that first half, right, that they produced. And that includes, still getting some early looks. I mean, the set piece play opportunities for the United States in this one, right? I think might have eclipsed Germany in this one. And I mean, they even had a really early second half corner as well, like Pew on every single one of these deliveries, from the corner, and a good one with Herrera as the target multiple times in some of these. And of course, right, Herrera headers. Saw Germany marking her pretty well, but shortly after this attempt, we have Bull go ahead and get this opening goal in the 52nd minute for Germany. And it's so quick in the way it happens, and where you sort of see this set piece play occur, ball kind of try to get recycled, but it doesn't quite, and then all of a sudden Germany is off. And again, credit to Murphy for coming up with an initial save, but eventually on a recycled ball out gets beat far post. So does something like this, after we're talking about 50-ish minutes, or perhaps even like 45-ish minutes with that first half, and now this early second half of good momentum for the United States, right? Is something like that kind of deflating at this point for the team?
I don't think so. I mean, Lori, you can probably speak to this a little bit more. You played for this national team, but I think that the way the goal happened, it was the United States had a corner kick, and then it was really quick transition. It was Huerta trying to send it back in, and Germany getting on top of it and just going. They had a 3v2 man up opportunity going towards the goal, and Casey Murphy ends up making a fantastic initial save. The shot coming from her left, and she makes a diving save and parries it out to her right. The United States then again can't clear it. Germany gets on top of it, and that's when the shot from Bull comes. And Murphy makes a diving attempt at a save, fully outstretched, and that's how it becomes this own goal. But the camera zooms in on Murphy as soon as this goal finds the back of the net, and she stood up and she said, "Let's go, keep the energy up." She grabbed the ball out of the net, she threw it to the half. It was her immediate reaction to not put her hands in her head, to not say like, "Hey, that went off my back." I mean, she is credited as an own goal for that one. I think that is really telling of why Casey Murphy got the start in this match, why she played 90 minutes, because her mindset and her attitude after that goal happened was, let's go forwards. I'll do my job back here. Let's get some goals. Let's keep the pressure on. Let's keep it moving. I don't think it debilitated this United States team. I don't. Lori, what do you think?
Well, I don't think it debilitated them, but I do think it's can be deflating for sure. And the fact that just to everything that we spoke to, right? Like you kind of weather those first 10 minutes where they're flooding you, and it's a little bit like, oh goodness, here we go. Like this is the Germany team that we've seen as of late, why they got to the final in the European Championship. But then weather that storm and then start to take over and have started to actually, outside of, everything that we can talk about too, and some things that we've been talking about, which is some moments where, okay, we need better decision making. We need to be more clinical in the final third in terms of finding the back of the net. But there were some really good build-up moments to lead to those opportunities, right? In terms of pressing and just like connection. And I say that because, I would say, make the argument, the last 20 minutes of that first half was just that. And we had the momentum. And then I would even argue that we had that the first 10 or so minutes of the second half or whenever before the goal happened, right? And Lindsey Herrera hits the post, right, off of a beautiful opportunity, and then your counterattack. So yes, I do think it is deflating. I think especially when you have the run of the play, I think we would really at that point in time limited Germany to much of the play at all. In fact, I would say we were pretty dominant in some aspects of that. And you could say, hey, this is exactly what Vlatko had spoke to, which is like, hey, it wasn't good enough in the Spain game in terms of what the identity of this team is, fighting, competing. I think we saw that. And then you get scored on. So this goes back to what I said at the top of the show too, which is these are moments that you need though. These are what you want to understand. How do you handle these moments? How do you handle picking yourself, getting back and getting control of the game leading up into the World Cup in 8 months? So, we could have won this game, and you're still going to need to dissect those moments. But I think it is tough once you have the run of play and a transitional moment catches you. But those are the things that we're also going to give up, right? Because we want to flood numbers forward. We want to, attack in numbers and create overloads in certain areas. So I think going back to what we said also in the preview, this England game and this game, we match up really well against these teams, and they're going to show us ways that we can be beat in certain moments of things that we like to do as well. So it's highlighting we could be getting beat in transitional moments. So how do we clean that up? Where are we getting more support? Who's stalling? Who's getting back? So as much as I do think it took the wind out of our sails a little bit, though.
I bring it up because I brought it up and wanted to ask you both your opinions on it, because I felt that it did. I felt that like once this goal happened, it could do a couple of things. It could do a couple of things. It could kind of wake you up in a certain way, but it could also kind of be a little deflating, and then you're like, okay, so now we're chasing a game. And I sort of felt like the former versus the latter in watching this game, because at this point, it's not as if there was bad play that we were watching from this United States women's national team. Like you said, like there was momentum that, waves of momentum that this team did have. And so especially to sort of concede off of, a quick counter, off of, a set piece opportunity that they were unable to capitalize on their own. Again, mind you, we saw that during those European friendlies where they conceded sort of off of these set piece moments, right? And so here we see this now against once more an additional time against Germany. For me, I was like, that's got to feel a little bit deflating, I think, at this point.
Sandra, you're talking about set pieces, 8 corner kicks for the United States to Germany's 3. That's,
yeah.
And we had this opening goal essentially sort of, kind of off of that. And then you sort of had this mentality now where it's like, oh, you're kind of like, oh, we were doing really well and we were sort of generating, but now we still have to do that while also chasing a game. Like you're weaving in like another component to, the game plan that you were already trying to execute. And we see it's a long stretch of time before we eventually see an equalizer. We do see an adjustment that is made by Andonovski. It's just past that hour mark. We get to see Coffey come into this game. We see Taylor Cornea come into this game. We see Crystal Dunn come into this game. Players that we wanted to see. We mentioned in the preview, like, hey, what will Coffey look like, against Germany? Crystal Dunn is someone who is still building on her minutes. We would like to see that as well, and we got to see that in this scenario. But it's a very unique scenario in which you have somewhat good play throughout this game, but now you're asking these substitutes to come on in here and not only continue that game plan that earned you that good play, but go out there and chase a game, and you're telling that to a player in Dunn who is still trying to build on minutes and fitness, right? And you're telling that to a rookie, right? In somebody like Coffey. And I just was kind of like, I don't know if I don't know if this is the trio of subs to get it done, but let's try to pay attention here and see what happens. But further substitutions took place, and we did eventually get to see some others, whether it was a Ashley Sanchez or a Megan Rapinoe. And again, really late into the game, and we see an equalizer finally in the 83rd minute. Let's talk about this goal for the United States. We chatted a little bit about the press, how sometimes it works, how sometimes it doesn't. And we see Alex Morgan commit, and she wins a ball back in the final third and immediately connects with Megan Rapinoe, who was waiting, quite frankly, and you could see Rapinoe call for this ball as soon as Morgan wins this ball and then beats from sort of the far post there. It was too late to sort of recognize the alternate run by Rapinoe. So good equalizer. Everybody I know I was feeling good in this moment.